And it's day 2 of the Fat Adaptive Strength Training, or FAST track for short. If you haven't signed up as a member yet, go ahead and use the link in the comments or wherever you're seeing this or listening to this. Sign up to become a client. That's going to give you access an app membership. It's a 3-month membership. Total cost is $90. That's divided up into $30 payments you can do on a monthly basis. So we're talking about $1 a day to become a virtual client, a remote client. Group interaction, written workouts, meal plans, all the tracking tools that you need to do to execute on everything that I'm talking about here. So if you're enjoying this free content, that's your next step. Okay, so today I'm going to talk about the importance of exercise in a fat loss or muscle preservation or muscle gain program. This is fat adapted strength training. So strength training is any type of resistance exercise like weights, like barbells, dumbbells, machines, or even body weight, or anything that uses your muscles to oppose gravity and some type of force being applied to those muscles. It doesn't make a lot of sense to people to lift weights to lose weight. We seem to have this false idea that, and women especially have this idea that lifting weights will make you gain weight or will make you, quote, bulky. I've heard that term thrown around quite a bit. What you have to understand is it's very, very difficult to gain substantial amounts of muscle. You're not going to accidentally gain a ton of muscle. That's just not going to happen. Even professional bodybuilders and strength athletes will tell you they eat, sleep, train, and supplement, and probably taking a little something besides all of that to help give them an advantage in that area. And even then, they're looking at a net increase of a couple of pounds a year or per bulking cycle. Okay, so it doesn't just happen automatically. Extra muscle is beneficial in a lot of ways. The main thing that does for you is it just improves the tone and the shape and the definition of your body. Makes you look, feel, and perform your best. It's the number one predictor of health across the lifespan. The more muscle we have, the better we're going to be throughout our lifespan, period. That's just end of story. So more muscle is always better. Muscle is metabolism. Remember that. When we're trying to lose weight, we want to lose body fat, not muscle. A lot of the popular methods that are out there right now, people end up losing about half the weight they lose as muscle, and they just become a smaller, weaker, less healthy version of their former selves. They don't really improve their appearance or anything like that. So what I'm looking at is body fat percentage. Okay. Now, this information, by the way, is geared towards the general public that is obese. About 75% of our population is overweight or obese now, and a full 50% of our population, half the people, have metabolic damage. They're either diabetic or pre-diabetic. So those are some staggering numbers. That's what I'm trying to do. I'm fighting this battle with a mic and a camera. And I do have some weapons in my arsenal. I have lost a total of 75 pounds of body fat, and I've maintained a healthy weight for over 10 years, and I've helped hundreds of people throughout my career span to get similar results. So this is not just hearsay. This is real world advice for you. So weight training, yes, that's something you need to do. Strength training or weight training. The reason for that is when you start cutting back your dietary energy intake, when you start eating less fat and carbohydrates, you lower your energy or your calorie intake, your body senses there's a drop in energy coming in, and it's going to take some measures to prevent you from starving. It's going to slow down the rate of energy expenditure, slow down the number of calories that you're burning. If you're eating, let's say, 1,000 or 2,000 calories a day and burning 3,000 calories a day, eventually you'll starve to death. So when we're trying to tap into stored body fat, we're fighting our survival instincts. The purpose of body fat is so that you have energy when there's no food around. So in a starvation or famine type scenario, you have a backup source of fuel so you can continue to perform and hopefully go find some food. That's the reason why we store body fat in the first place. One of the major problems with body fat is we get set to a certain amount and our body wants to come back to that automatically. So reestablishing that set point for metabolism is a process. It takes some time, and it works something like the thermostat in the room. When you turn down the dial on the thermostat, it takes some time for the temperature in the room to actually reach that setting. If you want it to be a little warmer or colder, you have to adjust the thermostat again. That's how it works with reestablishing your set point for metabolism. Set point is what your body comes back to automatically. Everybody has one. In science, that's known as homeostasis. That's the idea that all organisms are striving to maintain all of their internal conditions at all times. So we have a lot of compensatory type mechanisms established through thousands of years of existence that are here to ensure our survival, keep us from starving to death. And when we're trying to burn fat or build muscle, substantial amount of muscle, we're fighting that battle. So just keep that in mind. These are all kind of hacks that you can use to trick your body into releasing some fat stores and to trick your body into holding on to muscle or even increasing the amount of muscle. It is an art and a skill, and that's what I'm going to teach you through this F.A.S.T TRACK program. So to become fat adapted using strength training, you're going to reprogram your body to use fat for fuel most of the time and to spare the glucose or the carbohydrate in the form of glycogen stored in the muscle as your fuel source that you're going to use to power your weight training workouts to maintain muscle mass. Carbohydrate is part of the program. It's not a zero carb all the time. It's very low carb most of the time. And where you're getting started in this program really dictates whether you're going to be carbs at the end of the day or carbs at the end of the week. As I said before, I'm gearing this towards the people who need my help the most, which is the 75% of the population that is overweight or obese. So I define that excess body fat as being, for a man, more than 20% of your total body weight is fat. If you're a woman, more than 30% of your total body weight is fat. Those are round numbers. That's the general population. Fat serves some purposes on our body. We have it. It's there to insulate our organs. It's there, like I said, to provide a energy source in case of an emergency. It's, it is functional to a degree, but too much of it is excess. And body fat is not just an inert substance. It secretes inflammatory markers called cytokines into your body that keep you inflamed. They keep you in a sick kind of state. So to be as healthy as you possibly can, to look your best and feel your best, you're going to get your body fat levels under the numbers that I just mentioned. If you don't know your body fat numbers, you can get with me about an in-body scan, or I can refer you if you're a remote client. We use the database on InBody to find a location near you so that you can do a body scan there. And I can go over the numbers in person or over the phone or video consult rather, if I can't do it in person. So keep that in mind. Good to know your numbers so that you can improve them. So with weight training, yes, all this is organized and set up. I've got two major tracks that I put clients on. One is a push-pull split. That's two different workouts. So we're dividing the body up into muscle groups that push and muscle groups that pull. And we're alternating those workouts every other day on the low end or up to 6 days a week, where you're training everything twice a week on the high end of things if you're a little more comfortable with weight training. The other track has a dedicated leg day, and it's all built around that push-pull dynamic. So I pair biceps and triceps together. That's an arm day along with shoulders. There's a dedicated day for chest and back along with abs, because we have to train abs. But chest and back those are muscle. They're agonists, antagonists. They work against each other. So we're pushing and pulling on that day. And then leg day already has a little push and pull dynamic built into it. You're going to train quadriceps and hamstrings. That's your pushing and pulling muscles. So that's the way it's organized. Again, two different routes. You can train everything once a week, or you can train everything twice a week, depending on the amount of intensity and time that you have at your disposal. In order to get the written program, you sign up for the membership. It's a 3-month subscription. There will be on your portal a workout for the day. There are video and photo illustrations to show you how to do the exercises properly. You can also communicate with me as your coach through the portal. So if you have questions about anything, I can clarify that for you. There's also a dashboard for your macros, keeping track of your energy intake and menu, meal plan, group interaction with other people who are doing this program along with you. So lots of features there to take advantage of, again, for $1 a day. So the main thing when it comes to weight training is we're trying to give the body a signal that this muscle is important to hold on to. You start eating less fat and carbs, your body wants to reduce the amount of muscle mass you have. That's one of the ways it's going to slow you down and keep you from burning so much energy. You want to burn as much energy as you can. You want to be more efficient. You want more muscle. So by lifting weights or doing some resistance training, you're sending your body a signal that this muscle is important to hold on to. That way, nature doesn't take it away. You don't catabolize your muscle tissue for energy. We want to prevent that from happening. Aside from that, there is, the energy that's burned as a result of actually doing the exercise. That's important as well. And again, to look, feel, and perform your best. You want as much muscle as you can up to a certain point. Okay, what can I say about weight training that I haven't already said? Intensity and frequency are interchangeable. The more often you're going to train, the less intensity you're going to have to produce. If you're going to try to train infrequently, like 2, maybe 3 times a week, you're going to have to up your intensity to really get the benefit from that. Personally, I like to recommend that people make exercise part of a daily habit, that they're doing at least 30 minutes a day, up to an hour a day of some type of weight training and or cardio. We don't have to pick and choose. We're going to do both. The style of cardio that I recommend is like a low intensity, steady state. We don't get into the high intensity stuff because high intensity training, aside from being exhausting and boring, it also utilizes glycogen as the fuel substrate, and we want to get away from burning sugar. When you're trying to get fat adapted, you want to stop all this sugar burning activity and you want to do more fat burning activity. And what happens is your body becomes more efficient at storing the glucose in the muscles, like I recommended, or like I mentioned earlier, and using stored body fat to cover most of your daily energy expenditure. That's the ideal scenario, is that we're just burning fat around the clock. We're eating very low carbohydrates during the week, so we're not storing as much, maybe converting some protein over to glucose to power, really intense sets of weight training. At the higher intensity levels, you do have to have some glucose on hand. But fortunately, our body can manufacture glucose out of protein. And even if needed, it can strip the glycerol backbone off of the fatty acids and convert that into glucose or ketone bodies. So you don't have to eat carbohydrate in order to have glycogen or glucose. If you feel like you have to eat in order to have energy, that's a sure sign that you're compromised, that your metabolism, that you're in a vulnerable state. You should easily be able to tap into your stored body fat. If you have excess body fat, you don't need to eat for energy. You need to get better at using the energy that's already stored on your body. That's the problem. And frequent consumption of carbs, and to a lesser extent, dietary fat, is going to slow down the whole process. And we want to make this as helpful as we possibly can. We want it to work as well as we possibly can. We're going to be training, doing cardio in a fasted or semi-fasted state, and maybe getting protein feeding an hour or 2 before weight training. That's all kind of individual. That's something I can map out for you based on where you're getting started with me. Those are the major points I wanted to cover today. If you have questions or any topics you want me to cover in a future video, just let me know in the comments below. Go ahead and hit like or subscribe. I really do appreciate that. It helps drive the algorithm. And I'll be back tomorrow with another video. So until then, stay strong and enjoy the journey.